amount of money he has, the possessions he owns, and the power he holds. Is it the professional success he's achieved over the years? I don't believe it's any of these things. The true measure of a man is how much love he gives, how selflessly he shares whatever he can to help others, how consistently he lifts up those around him with a kind word, a funny joke, a compliment, a humble ear, or the very shoes off his feet. By this measure, my dad was immeasurable. You don't hear too much about fathers, but I must say mine was one of the best. What made him so special in my eyes was that he was the father of 9 children, and each one of us looked up to him with respect, love, and admiration. That's not to say that we didn't look up to our mothers in the same way, but there was something different about how we all related to him. Being the parents of 9 children is a tough job, and no matter how much you love them, it even gets tougher when they start growing up and bring a whole bunch of other people into the family dynamics. This is where my father stood heads above many others. My father was a thinker. He was a very quiet man who didn't push himself on anyone, but he would quietly watch and mentally figure out whether that person was a good person or not. And then he did the most incredible thing. He kept quiet and watched and tried making the person he was watching either hang himself or not. He kept his feelings to himself. With his quiet demeanor, you would think that 9 kids would run roughshod all over him, but such was not the case. We all knew without a doubt that there was a line drawn in the sand, so to speak, and that you did not dare cross over that line. With his quiet, thoughtful way, he just had to look at you, and you knew that something was not quite the way it should be. No one ever rocked his boat when he had his mojo on, and this was always the case. He always had his mojo on. We all respected him so much to ever deliberately try his patience. He taught us by example to work hard, to think, and never ever give up. Our father was a man like no other, and if love, humility, and compassion had a form in humans, then it was him. He was an icon worthy of emulation. He was selfless, highly principled, and stood firm for what he believed was in the general interest of everyone around him. He never allowed anyone ploy his fatherly roles. He was always kind, caring, and understanding towards people. And if help was ever needed, then it came so freely from him. The true measure of a man is the legacy he leaves. Be you husband, father, brother, or friend, leave your torch burning brightly. In Brian Herbert's words. How will I be remembered by my children? This is the true measure of a man, and this is my father's measure. Over to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Ola, thank you so much for the speech about your dad and how his quiet demeanor meant so much to all the kids who were careful of that line that he put in the sand. I wanted to congratulate you on a well-structured speech. You used the word of the day. You created an impact with your vocal variety, and you also, it looked like you stood because you moved, and I appreciated that because it's difficult when we are virtual to get a lot of movement in. I think standing when you're virtual means that you do have more control over your gestures. I enjoyed the quote, "How will I be remembered by my children?" I felt that if you had perhaps gone further and said to us and gave us a call to action, how will we be remembered by our children? What do we do for our children? What do we do so that we, our parents, that we remember them? Something like that, that will bring it more home for us. One thing I noticed when we speak, when we do this, we tend to give the impression we're pointing fingers. When you count 1 or 2 or 3, it's a different story. I would suggest doing this. Use your hand. That way, no one can feel as if you're pointing a finger at them, and it comes across less aggressive almost. Even though it wasn't your meaning, that is how some could perceive it. I love that you started off. What is the measure of a man? Brilliant. You continued to talk about what some people might think, and then you said, but that's not what you think of your dad. I do like that. I like the fact you already started our thought processes by starting off with that question. Ola, I enjoyed your speech. I really did. I felt that you described your dad and you brought home the love and respect you have for him. I will send you your evaluation, and thank you very much for the honor to be able to do your evaluation.